So it looks for a change as though sanity has prevailed in English football. The UK government is set to back a plan to ban Premier League games being played abroad. Now, football matches have been played abroad for a very long time now. It's nothing new. We've seen the likes of the Coppa Italia move to Saudi Arabia. We've seen La Liga move their Supercopa España, I should say, to Saudi Arabia as well. There was talks about playing Barcelona against Atletico Madrid in Miami as well this season. That thankfully did not happen, although Barcelona probably hopes it would have done because they lost that game in Barcelona, unfortunately for them. Although it looks like they're going to win La Liga anyway, so it's all right in the end for them. But yeah, the government's basically going to back a plan, apparently, to ban these games in the Premier League and the EFL being played abroad, which I think is great. Now, some people might argue, well, other leagues are doing it. Why not the Premier League? Well, I don't think the Premier League should need to do that. And I don't think it should do that. It wants to do it. It probably does want to do it, but it doesn't need to. And I'll tell you why. Because of the money. Now, you might think, well, they're going to make more money if they go abroad. Yeah, true. They don't need that money. The Premier League clubs do not need that money. You know, finances-wise, the top teams in Europe, the super clubs, they can compete with the top Premier League teams, you know. Finances-wise, the likes of Paris Saint-Germain, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, they can compete with the likes of, obviously, like Liverpool, Man United, Man City. Finances-wise, there's not that much between them. There is a bit, but not a lot. But the difference is the strength in depth for the Premier League. You know, you've got the likes of Bournemouth and Fulham, who are not big clubs by any means, and even kind of middle-sized clubs, the likes of Wolverhampton Wanderers and Leicester City back in the day as well. They used to be competing with some of the bigger clubs in Europe when it came to signing players. You know, Füllkrug, for example, you know, he went from Borussia Dortmund to West Ham. You know, went from the second biggest team in the Bundesliga, you would argue, in terms of their recent success. Although, of course, they are a massive club, Dortmund, against a team that this season, at least, West Ham, have really, really struggled, been near the bottom of the Premier League. So, you know, the Premier League shouldn't need to do something like that. And I'm glad the government is stepping in and being like, no, you can't do this. Because remember Birmingham City and Wrexham, they wanted to play their match in the States, and that's in League One, a third-tier division game being played in the United States. And again, I think the EFL just basically said, no, you can't do that. And now the government is stepping in, according to this article on The Guardian here, an exclusive by Matt Hughes, so shout out to him for breaking this. Basically saying, you can't do this. This is not right, and we're going to stop you. So, good news. But I'll just read out the full article and give some of my thoughts at the end as well, guys. The government is ready to back plans to add provisions to the Football Governance Bill that would prevent the Premier League and EFL from staging competitive matches abroad. The move would be welcomed by fans groups who are concerned that clubs will seek to cash in on their global popularity by moving games overseas, in a radical break with tradition expected to be approved by FIFA this year. Liverpool's chair, Tom Werner, told the Financial Times last year that he was determined to see Premier League players in New York, Tokyo, Los Angeles, Riyadh and Rio de Janeiro. The bill to create the independent football regulator has had its second reading in the House of Commons this week, but amendments are likely to be added. The Guardian has learned that there are concerns among some MPs that an existing clause in the bill stating clubs must seek the regulator's permission to move home games elsewhere is not robust enough, and there must be plans to submit an amendment at the committee stage which explicitly rules out taking matches abroad. Although the government is not planning to introduce the amendment, multiple sources have confirmed it is sympathetic to the principle and opposed to English fixtures being moved overseas. Ministers could support the amendment, suggest changes to it, or oppose it depending on the wording. The Premier League's chief executive, Richard Masters, said last summer it had no plans to take games abroad and that the subject has not been formally discussed since 2008, where plans for an international round in the so-called 39th game, I remember that, my goodness me, were abandoned after fan backlash and opposition from FIFA. The Premier League policy is dedicated by its members, however, and if 14 clubs wanted to play overseas, the executive would be unable to stop them. FIFA regulations that prevent league matches being played outside domestic national territories are set to change. The world governing body set up a working group last year to issue new recommendations on the subject after settling a legal dispute with the American sports promoter Relevant, which had argued that FIFA's refusal to sanction overseas games was anti-competitive. La Liga and Serie A have started thinking about moving games abroad as soon as next season. like I said, La Liga wanted to with Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. At least the clubs wanted to anyway. And for me, it's just not on. I mean, it's bad enough like cup matches being played abroad in other countries. So like, you know, Italy with their Supercopa and La Liga. Well, Spain with their Copa del Rey, of course. So not Copa del Rey, Supercopa de España. My apologies. So yeah, I mean, listen, that's bad enough. But league matches being played, that's just scandalous for me. You got to reward your local support. It's bad enough that they're being priced out enough as it is in the Premier League and the English divisions. It's expensive watching football now here. It really is, especially compared to what it was 5-10 years ago. It has not kept up with inflation. It's been way above it. So I'm all for the government planning this and just putting a line in the sand and saying, no, you don't want to do this. This is not right. It's something, the Premier League and English professional football is a big economic drive for this country. We don't want to be outsourcing it to the States or Japan or Saudi Arabia, This country's on its knees enough already financially. We don't need to be doing something like that. It's just going to make things worse. So, yeah, hopefully this does get ratified and just says, no, you can't do this. Absolutely not. The Premier League will try to do it. I'm sure they will. I know the chief executive, Richard Masters, said this, but I don't trust him. Simple. I don't trust these people in this kind of power. But from a financial point of view, they don't need to do it. But it's all about making more. They don't need to do many things, but they still do them. So your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Would you like to see the Premier League go abroad? I want to hear what you have to say about this. I'm sure fans in different countries outside the UK would probably have an opinion on this different to mine, but I want to hear what you have to say about this. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see more like this. And yeah, have a great day wherever you are in the world, guys. And if you have any updates about this as well, we'll be sure to bring it here on thefootballchronicle.com.